Hey everyone, welcome back. Time for a little Jays talk. We're going to be recapping the Baltimore Orioles Toronto Blue Jays game. So off the top, it was nice to see Zach Pop, reincarnated version of Jordan Romano there, letting a couple of runners on before hunkering down and getting the save. That was good to see. It felt like watching an old friend. So we'll get started with the hitting side of things. The starters all look good. I have no real concerns with anyone in this team, and I'm not overanalyzing, every single at bat of theirs because we know who most of them are. George Springer continues to struggle. He's really the only starter that I'm concerned about because we've seen such a track record of him struggling, and to have him do it again in spring training while everyone else is hitting well. It's hard to make the argument of it's just spring training when literally everybody on the roster is hitting except for him. So that's a bit tough. After we watched last year, we've got enough data now to know that he's just struggling. And I think if he doesn't straighten out quickly, by May, he's going to be on the bench, probably at best. Because Alan Roden, Santander, Varsho, Loperfido, Nathan Lucas, there's a number of guys that at this point in time appear to be better baseball players than George Springer. I hope that's not the case, and I hope that he, even against lefties, if he could just start raking against lefties, I think that would be great, because then you can at least platoon him or something and, give him some defensive replacements for Santander or something. At least then there's a role that you can get value out of there, but running him out as an everyday fielder when he's going to hit 150 for you or a 550 OPS, it's just not going to cut it on a competitive team. Like I say, Bichette, Guerrero, Santander, none of these guys are concerning me right now. They're all hitting the ball hard. They're all taking good swings. They all look like they're getting ready for the year. Most importantly, they're in good health, it seems. And speaking of good health, the Dalton Varsho home run, it's so cool to watch that guy hit home runs because there's just something different about lefties. Same thing with Barger. When Barger connects, they just look cooler coming from the left side. I don't know why that is, but the sweet swings from the lefties are awesome. And for me, it's just his shoulder must be healthy. He's still swinging hard. He's still putting good swings. I'm imagining we're going to start seeing him play more center field shortly to try and ramp up. Not that he needs a lot of work getting ready defensively, but, it would make me feel better if we saw him play a couple games out there and make a few throws before opening day, just so that we're a little bit more confident that he'll be good to go. Orelvis Martinez, I touched on it in my last video and maybe the one before that about him coming in off the bench. So he came in off the bench a couple games in a row and struggled at the plate. And then this game he started and went 2 for 3 again and looked great. So that's something I've mentioned I'm keeping an eye on because for him to break into the league, I still feel like he's going to have to come in as a pinch hitter and a spot starter against lefties. So I'm encouraged that he goes 2 for 3 as a starter, but I would like to see him be able to replicate some of that success when he's a pinch hitter. Because like I say, his role on the Major League club is likely going to be that role. So yeah, great work from Orelvis. Want to see him do it in a pinch hitting setting. Speaking of pinch hitting, Alan Roden also came in, worked a walk off the bench. So that was good to see as well, because again, that's how these guys are going to have to break into the majors at this point, it seems. Miles Straw doing everything he can. I don't know if he'll make the opening day roster, but he's playing good defense. His base running is sound. His bat's been pretty good. He's doing what he can to earn a spot, put it that way, which a lot of these guys are. Christian Betancourt helped Zach Pop out nicely in the 9th inning there with the strike him out, throw him out. And he was holding his elbow afterwards. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he was kind of poking around, feeling his elbow and just kind of doing that. And if any of you have ever had elbow discomfort after pitching or after a throw and you start grabbing your elbow like that and kind of flexing your arm, that is not what you want to see. So I hope he was just, uncomfortable with some equipment or something, and that wasn't an elbow injury. But I will be patiently waiting to see if we get any info on him after the game. On the pitching side of things, Easton Lucas, mixed results. He looks all right. He didn't walk a ton of guys. He struck out 2 in 2 2/3, let up some contact, let up some runs, but he looks all right. I don't want to judge him too harshly on that. He's going to be in the minor leagues to start the year, and we'll see where he goes from there. Mason Fluharty looked great. Comes in for one batter, gets a strikeout. The thing I like about Fluharty is how repeatable his delivery is. He's very compact, and there's not a lot of moving parts. I don't feel like he'll be a guy that has big cold streaks or big wild streaks. Like a lot of guys with a lot more movement and a lot more funk in their delivery, like a Zach Pop, for instance, there's a lot of flailing around and a lot more to get in line to reproduce their windup. Fluharty doesn't have any of that. He pitches from the stretch, very compact, very like minimal movement all around, and for that reason I think that he'll be very predictable once he ultimately breaks into the majors. And I think that he'll be the first man up if a Yarbrough or if a Little or anyone like that gets hurt, the normal attrition for a bullpen in the course of a year. I think we see Fluharty, and I would be really keen to see how he makes out in the majors. Ryan Yarbrough did the regular Yarbrough stuff. One of the main things I like about Yarbrough is obviously he's a little bit funky. He's got that slow curveball. He's got sinker, cutter. He throws probably, at most 88 miles an hour or so. But I like that he's good for multiple innings, and I like that he's such a change of pace. When you go from, say, a Kevin Gausman who's pumping in 95, 96, and then you've got a Ryan Yarbrough who's kind of goofy and reverse pitching, and it's from the left side, and it's slow curveballs, and it's just a change of pace. And then you can go right back in there with your Jimmy Garcias and Jeff Hoffmans for the 7th, 8th, 9th innings. You're getting your Chad Greens and all that. I like the difference of the change of pace. I think that's really cool to see, and I think that's why he's so effective in a lot of cases. And not only why he's so effective, but why guys coming in after him can be so effective as well, because he provides that. He's essentially like the pitcher form of a changeup, if you will. Jimmy Garcia, Chad Green, Sandlin, Pop, they all came in. They all look pretty good. I'm on Team Pop. I know that's not common, and I see what you guys see. I see how wild he is. I see how he blows games. I see how he's inconsistent, but I still love the sinker and the 95, 96, 97 mile an hour sinker that he throws with lots of movement. I wish he would tone down a lot, like I was just mentioning with Fluharty. I wish he would tone down his windup and just try to reel it in a bit, because he's so funky. And maybe that's where he gets his velocity from. I don't know. Maybe he's just unable to change anything there. But I really wish he would just tidy up the mechanics a bit and hopefully help him get in the zone a little bit more, because the stuff is awesome. And he's one of those guys where I don't necessarily need to see it at the major league level, but if we could keep him in Buffalo without having to, just release him outright, I would like to keep him in the organization, because he feels like one of those guys that on any given year will just click, and he'll be very, very productive for a year, or 2 or 3, or how it goes. He just seems like one of those guys where it's like, oh yeah, he was DFA'd and then he got picked up by the Cardinals or the Diamondbacks or whatever, and then he pitches to a 1.5 ERA. That just seems like a Zach Pop thing to happen. One of those random guys that just goes off for an all-star caliber season out of nowhere. The sinker that Pop has, to me, is just, keep it in the organization if we can, is basically what I'm saying. And as I mentioned, it was cool to see him basically channel his inner Jordan Romano, put a couple guys on, had an error mixed in there, and then get the strike him out, throw him out, and then, another strikeout. That was pretty cool to see. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Let me know what you guys thought of the game. We're kind of winding down in spring now. There's still a couple weeks left, but you're seeing a lot more of the regulars, a lot less of the split squad games, a lot less of, you're not seeing single A guys anymore. It's becoming more like real baseball. So fun to watch. It's an entertainment if nothing else. Let me know what you guys are taking away from these games and if anything stood out to you. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.